was not so many years after this that, in the heat of battle, Hygelac, brave king of the Geats, was struck down and killed. He was much mourned, for he had ruled wisely and well, but the Geats were fortunate indeed despite their sadness. For now the whole kingdom passed into the hands of that great hero Beowulf. For over 50 years he ruled the land, and ruled it fairly, generously, always in spirit a good and kindly king. Never had there been a king more loved and admired than Beowulf. Grey-haired now, even for this hero age had taken its toll of years. He had every right to expect a peaceful old age, but cruel fate was to intervene and deny it to him. We do not always have what we deserve. For 300 years or more, deep in a burial mound, high on the cliffs above the moors, lay a hoard-guarding dragon, sleeping all this while undisturbed. So he might have stayed forever, harmless in his dragon dreams, a hoard of golden treasure for his bed. No one would ever have known of him, nor of the treasure. But quite by chance, some nameless slave happened upon this cave. Condemned to a flogging, and on the run from his warrior master, he found the opening, and, seeking any shelter he could find, crept in, and came across this slumbering dragon, curled up on his pile of treasure. Heaps of hoard things there were. Seized with sudden terror at the sight of this monstrous dragon, the unfortunate slave wanted only escape. But one golden goblet lay close by. So close he simply could not resist it. And even as he ran, an idea came into his head. This goblet would be a perfect gift for my master, he thought. I'll go back and give it to him. Maybe it will appease his fury. Little did he know what fire fury he would bring upon himself and his whole people by this thoughtless act. Little did he know or care how this treasure came to be there with the death dragon guarding it, and how in a heathen age, long ago, one sole survivor from a whole tribe of earls, brought to a sudden and violent war death, carried this treasure hoard of talismans into the mound. For he knew he could no longer guard it and care for it himself. He decided to hide it, bury it where no one could find it. Over the treasure he bewailed his grief for his lost friends, for the joys they had shared, crying out to the earth itself to protect the precious tribe treasure, last vestiges of a proud people now slaughtered and silent in death. All their harp playing, all singing, done forever. So he left the treasure-filled mound, and maddened with grief, wandered the wind-wild moors until death came for him too. So all that tribe was gone, but the treasure remained. Soon there came that way a dreaded dragon, a night ravager. A foul flame fiend he was, always seeking out hellish hiding holes where he could rest. One day he happened on this same treasure-filled mound. Fate had brought him there, and made it his own, possessed it with his power, sleeping there on this priceless pillow till the end of time. Not that it did him any good. Possession was all his joy. So for 300 years, undisturbed, this death dragon guarded his underground hoard, until that doomed day when the wretched slave came upon the place by chance, discovered the godless creature sleeping there, and carried off that golden goblet, a peace offering to his master, so he thought, a luckless man. But the dragon, through his serpent scales, had felt the loss of the treasure, and hearing the footfall of the intruder, opened one angry eye and watched him go. After 300 years, he was slow to wake. This worm of wickedness now slithered out of his hole, following where the fleeing slave had gone. Rage roaring, he circled the mound looking for the man's footprints, but found none out there in the wilderness. Yet he knew his treasure house had been breached, knew the golden cup had been stolen from him, and was burning with fire fury at the offence. He would have his sweet revenge, that was sure. He longed now for the flames of war, for the fire of battle again after so many years asleep. He could hardly wait. That night, this death-dealing dragon came flying over the moors. Armed with fire he came, spewing out his flames wherever he went. He did not mind whose dwelling it was he left burning brightly behind him. In his eyes, all were guilty of the crime. If he had his way, he would not have left a single man alive. Over all the Yertish land, the blazing fires rose skyward. A scourge of fire-spitting destruction he wrought in that one night, pouring out his venomous fire, burning everywhere and everyone with his flame-throwing poisonous breath. Before morning, light came to the sky. With the country and its people left so cruelly ravaged, the serpent flew back to his hidden hoard deep inside his secret mound. Here he believed he would be quite safe, but he was mistaken, as you shall hear. Beowulf had heard by now of the horror visited on his countrymen that night by this death dragon. His own mead hall, most magnificent of all buildings in the land, the very heart of the kingdom, had been consumed by the serpent's fire. Sorrow overcame him when he saw the ashes smouldering. Grief gripped and guilt-ridden, that good king imagined he must have brought this on himself, that he had somehow angered his eternal God. When he saw how that devil's dragon had visited fire and fury on all the land by the sea, where his people had lived out their lives in peace, secure, they thought, in the safety of their homes, then anger swelled inside him, and overcame his grief and his guilt. Now the old king roused himself to action, and swore to punish this evil death messenger. Old he may have been, but Beowulf was formidable still in strength and will. At once he gave orders that a huge shield should be made, all in iron. He knew wood would be little use against the searing heat of the serpent's fire. Only with such a shield would he be able to come close enough to the horde-squatting dragon to put an end to this murderer's miserable life. But Beowulf, this mighty warrior of old, would not go up against this death dragon with his army of warriors. He was a hero who had never known fear. He scorned the dragon's strength and his fighting prowess too. Beowulf had survived battles in plenty and emerged victorious in many other clashes since that time when he had destroyed the monster Grendel and his sea hag mother all those years before in the land of Hrothgar. He was not afraid again to do battle in defence of his people, this noble hero. So he took only 11 warrior companions with him to seek out this fiery ravager of the night. They were all he would need, he thought. But one more came with them too. The slave who had stumbled by chance into the hidden mound and woken the horde-watching dragon from his centuries of sleep. He had been discovered, this guilty slave, being found clutching the precious golden goblet. So the cause of the serpent's woeful attack had been discovered, and the slave was brought along, this cursed coward, to show them the way to the mound, for he alone knew the inside of the dragon's earth hall, the cavernous lair heaped high with treasure, where the dreaded dragon lay. Beowulf knew how formidable this underground guardian was, how fierce and fiery a foe he would be, and he was not wrong.